I'm here in the workshop with the Colorado, and I'm trying to take bolts out of the driver's side. No, I'm not done taking bolts out. I'm done trying to take them out. I got what? Miserable son of a gun. This one was the only one that was inside the frame bed. Yep. Or the inside the frame, underneath the bed. All the rest of them are on the outside of the frame rails where they get splashed. Two of them I was able to turn them part way, but then they locked up, and when I pulled on them with a breaker bar, I just spun the nut. And I imagine the nut is either a staked nut or it's might be spot welded into the frame. More than likely it's a rivet nut. Well, so I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place. I'm thinking if I take a drill and drill through the head, say take a 1/2 inch drill bit and drill through the head and drill down to the shank of the drill or the bolt, I'll be able to take the head off of it. If I can take the head off of it, I can lift the truck bed off the truck, flip it over upside down, and get an actual chance to work on this thing. Because right now, it's underneath the horn on the frame. I can't get to where it's attached to the bed unless I get the bed off the truck. So, we are in the midst of trying to do that. I think I get one more bolt loose on the other side, but wait a little bit because the old man's getting tired. Been at this since 9 o'clock and it's now 11:30. So the wear is starting to show. There's the rainstorm. It's gonna cool off. That'll be good. Having sweat run into your eyes while you're laying on your back is always a pain, especially when there's rust in the air, because then you get rust on your face and it sticks, and you wipe your face and it gets in your eyes. It's just a never-ending problem. So I'm gonna get out the 1/2 inch drill motor and bring out the floor jack. I intend to set the 1/2 inch drill motor on top of the floor jack so I can use the floor jack to provide upward force on the drill. I know it's going to be a major pain in the butt, but I don't see another way out. I can't get to the head with a cutoff wheel. It's up inside a frame horn, and I have to cut the frame horn off, and Lord knows we don't want to make war work. I've already done rebuilt everything in the whole shop and moved everything in the whole shop and built things for this job specifically. My wife told someplace else and have him replace that pump. And it's a debate going on in my mind right now. I might place a phone call, because if I have to cut those bolts off and rebuild the truck bed so that the bolts will go back in, that's going to make this job last another week. And Lord knows I don't want to. But while I'm doing this, hi Mike. I actually a little scroll going up the bottom of the screen. New phone. Haven't done a live long enough to get anybody to talk back to me with this phone, so glad you're here, Mike. I got the tail lights out and I got the tailgate off, so that part of it's done. I got one bolt which is right under here. It's inside the frame rail. I probably can do the same thing with the bolt on the other side. If I had taken, I could have pulled these two back bolts and had a good feeling. But I started on the one outside. It spun the nut, and then I just spun the nut on the front one. Now, on the front tires, I put a mud guard on there so that it won't spray stuff up underneath the bed of the truck, because you can see the rockers are rusted on the driver's side. I'm pretty sure this truck got damaged on the passenger side and somebody did some work on it, because that rocker's too good a shape. Passenger side rocker goes first because it's the one driving in the snowbank all the time. But I'm going to be positive about this. This is going to be something I'm going to either accomplish or have somebody else accomplish for me. One way or the other, I'm going to get it done. Because it's just a, you know, on the total of the truck, this is a small piece. I just went down to the auto parts store and bought a little electric pump and mounted it on the firewall and ran a line back to the steel line that came up from the tank and disconnected it from the carburetor, put a hose on the line going back to the tank. Yeah, Mike, I did try an impact. I had a electric impact. I got a small electric impact, and it pounded the crap out of them. But the nut is rusted into the bolt, or the bolt's rusted into the nut. And I think looking at the only example that I have of it, here is where it was in the nut. Up above here, all the threads are rusted away. There's not much thread left. Get that so you can see it. Yeah, there's not much thread left up here. So I think when it came down into the nut, that rusty part of the thread bound up in the nut and locked the nut onto the bolt. And those little rivet nuts only have a sheet metal U-channel that goes across the bottom of the bed. And that is just sheet metal. So it's not very strong. It's made to be light. They wanted to make it light. That's okay. We're just gonna, yeah, it's a lot of rust on the truck bed, or on the rocker, isn't it? That it was all painted. There wasn't any rust, but that was 5 years ago. And there was a little rust on the surface, little surface rust. But I sanded that all down and put phosphoric acid spray on it. You know, rust blocker. So that stopped rusting up there. But this back here, I didn't do anything to. You learned too late. Made it. Yeah, you guys don't do the salt. I live in Michigan, and Michigan has a salt mine right under Detroit, and there's a lot of people who make a ton of money off. So the state buys the salt, puts it on the road. Yeah, you guys are lucky. You get, what is that? They call that a semi-rainforest out there? No, I can't get a Sawzall in there because there's a horn that the bolt goes up through, and it's like a U-shaped piece, and the bolt goes down through the bottom of the U. So I can't get in there with a Sawzall unless I take the fender off, which means I'd have to take the box off. Oh, wait a minute. That would kind of mean I didn't have to do it. But I'm really thinking about taking a drill motor and drilling the head off that bolt. I've got a cutoff wheel that I could get up in there, but a Dremel cutoff wheel is just, I'm going to go through so many little wheels, and it's going to be up overhead, up inside a tight spot, a major pain in the butt. I'm thinking if I go after it with a drill bit, maybe take a 5/8 or a 1/2 inch drill bit would do it, and just drill through the center of that head and drill down to the shank, pop the head off. I'll be able to lift the bolt out of the hole, no harm done. Once I get it off, then I can flip the bed over, get to it, cut this broken off, cut the bolt off, flush with the nut, and then, or leave a little tab up. Maybe I can go the other way. I can leave a little tab up and then hook onto the shaft with a pair of vice grips and crank it down through the other way and get it to come out. Not really sure on that one. But if I get it loose and get it, yeah, large center punch hole is a good idea. We have 1990s cars that are rust-free. I've seen, yeah, Michigan is rusty. Yep, we are in the Rust Belt. With you lived here. Salt, snow and salt. They're, I think they call them dog nose bolts. It's got a little start in the nut so you can drive it in with an impact, but it's not a carriage bolt. This is got a hex head on it. When this one came loose, I thought, well, maybe. Now on a full size Colorado, it's got a longer bed on it. I believe it has one. There might be another one. I don't know. Crawling around on my back looking up underneath there. When I go in for lunch, I'm going to take a look and see if anybody's got a picture of the bottom of the truck so I can see what it looks like. Try and find out where, how, and why. I know my mom's cars only lasted 2 years before becoming Fred Flintstone. Yep, that's what happens. If I can drill that out, yeah, it's going to be a lot easier. Okay, Mike, thanks for stopping by. Got to go take care of your dad. Dad's coming over to go to eat. Good luck. Sounds like a plan. I'd love to go to lunch with my dad. I'd love to take my wife out to lunch. The original VT. Sorry, I cannot translate on the fly, guys. I only read English. I'm one of those decadent Americans that doesn't know anybody else's language. Let's see. We use what's called a jam bar for toilet bolts to hold them in place. Yes, I have a larger impact wrench. Problem is not spinning the thing. I broke it loose with a breaker bar. I was able to spin it, but I tore the nut loose from the frame. And when I tore the nut loose from the frame, it's not popped loose. It didn't come down through the frame. It's still got the shoulder up inside the cross beam, so I can't just lift it off. Well, I just came online. I've been online now 15 minutes and 48, 49, 50 seconds, so you didn't miss me by much. If I could reach up inside and put something inside that U channel, I might be able to lock that nut in place. I don't know though. That's when I'm tearing a rib nut loose in the frame, I'm putting a lot of torque on it. I've got a 18-inch bar putting probably 150, 200 foot-pounds on it. So jam bar would be pretty hard pressed to pinch enough to hold it. I think just if I could just take the torch up there, I could burn it out in about 2 seconds. But you know, I have this problem with a fuel leak, and I'm right next to the gas tank. So I'm not thinking that's such a good idea. Well, I'm going to have to pull a mic and go fix lunch for Lydia and myself and get cleaned up a little bit and rest and dry out. Put on some clean pants because I don't want to sit in the house with these pants on. I've been rolling around on the floor. Now I did clean up. I swept the floor and cleaned the floor all over the place, but I've been beating the crap out of this truck and everything on the truck's falling off. If I spin the bolt fast enough, it may heat up and do a spin weld. Yeah, we actually had a job place down in Indiana that was doing spin welds on shafts for us. We were doing a friction weld, and it was quite the thing. It was a unique thing to see. It's kind of fun to try it once with the lathe, but their machine spun and then stopped. Both the head stock and the tail stock spun opposite directions, and they both stopped at the same time, and then the weld froze. I don't think I can do that with that old South Bend. I don't have enough horsepower in there to belt and slip. But I could try just putting in the, well, I've got the impact drill, the Skill impact drill. That's a high torque drill bit. Put that on there and spin it up. Just have to take the hammer off, turn off the hammer on it, and spin that son of a gun, and I could put a lot of pressure on it. I could just probably burn that bolt right up through the top of the workbox. Just punch it right on through. I think if I spun a bolt up through the box, I think I'd be making more work for myself. Yeah, you can heat treat it. You just have to quench it after it's done, but you don't usually heat treat a weld. You might anneal a weld. You don't want to heat treat the weld because the heat is the tempering is only, so you're going to make the weld real hard and possibly crack it away from the other parts that it's welded to. You break the parent. Hey, Raw Bacon. It's morning in Michigan, and I'm complaining bitterly to everybody that's listening about not being able to get spun the nut. You probably saw yesterday's video. The back one, the one on, there's 2 bolts. on the outside of the frame rail, and one bolt on the inside, away from the splash from the tires, came right out. It looks like I lost it for a minute there, guys. But we're back about something fascinating, and it's something I've forgotten what I was talking about, so it's just gone forever. Anyways, I was able to get one bolt out because it was on the inside of the frame rail, and the two that are on the outside of the frame rail, and I've already spoken to the other guys that there may be, some people say there's 8, and other people say, I don't see a place to put another bolt in there, but I'll have to get the flashlight and look around. Let's see. No, it doesn't look like there's another one in there. Might want to take that liner out of the fender well, because I'll be able to see better. Because the bolt goes in right about there and right about there. One of the things that I wanted to do is take the... Colorados are notorious for having a weak point right there. You may have seen places where somebody tried to pick up a Colorado by lifting it on a 4-point lift or a 2-point lift, and lifted just in the wrong spot, and the truck snapped right there. The frame snapped right there. Now I imagine if you got a little rusty and made it weak, and you had a crumple zone built in there, which is what they did. They put a crumple zone in there to pass safety tests. Destroys the truck. The frame is gone, and on this truck, nobody would replace the frame. They just say, "Now, if the frame broke on this, and I had to take all these bolts loose, I might just throw up my hands and say, nope, no way." Well, everything is a situation where you have to stop and think. Sometimes, being human, we think, I want to give up on this one. I'm just tired of doing it. Or in my case, it's only money, have somebody else do it. But it's more of a challenge. It's always a thing, too, that outside influences. Right now, I don't drive the truck. I drive the car. My wife doesn't drive for a while. We're going to take her out and see if we can get her on the road. She's starting to feel a little better, but I have to be very careful because we're in the danger zone. We're at the point where she's starting to think that she's okay, and she's going to get herself in trouble again. Last time that happened, she fell and broke her left shoulder. Don't want to do that. That was an extra year of being laid up, and that's hard on her. Me too. I'm not enjoying it a bit. So I'm wanting to make sure that she takes care of herself and doesn't have any more problems. Now and go in the house and take care of my other part of my job, and It's been fun. It was nice having a live chat. I did this when I was down in Louisiana. I was sitting there one night and just we had like 2 hours because I had no place to go and nothing to do. Here, I've always got somebody else wanting something. I need to take care of something or do something or go get something, and I try and get these last forever, take all the time right out of the day. Yes, she would be happier being more independent. I have an extension cord out here with a trouble light, and I was going to put it underneath there, but the bolt process went so getting a trouble light out and plugging it in and having all that heat right next to my head. So I didn't do it. Okay, guys. Thanks a lot. I'll see you later.